This is my friend Vincent Duchetta. He runs a mixed martial arts studio based in Monrovia, California. It's a center where MMA practitioners train and fight their way into professional athletes. Once a month, coaches bring their students to this battleground. Despite the fact that they all come from different styles and backgrounds, they share one common goal: to be a champion. So now we welcome you to join us into the never-told-before story of the mixed martial artist's journey.
Grab him, pick him up, and throw him down, that's fine. But do not tea kettle him and put him on top of his head. You guys understand that? No spiking your opponent, okay? If you have his back and you go for a suplex, take him off to the side. If you shoot him for a double, you pick him up, turn him, and put him on his back. If the guy doesn't know how to fall and he lands and then he hits his head, back and then head, and he gets knocked out, well then that's on him. He just shouldn't know how to fall, okay? But if you guys take him and direct the head into the mat, automatic DQ. You guys all understand that, right? I don't want anybody pissing and moaning, oh, this, and that. You guys understand it's an automatic DQ.
Usually about an hour and a half before the actual event starts, we have a rules meeting outside. And what that does, we just kind of go over the rules. It's an amateur event. We want to make sure everybody's clear on what to do and what they can't do. This saves a lot of headache inside the ring when a lot of people sometimes they don't understand the call or why the fight was stopped a certain way. So we try to get it locked down before the fight so that they know what they're getting into.
There's
nothing from 12 o'clock to 6, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, nothing from the side of the earth. Yeah, nothing straight down. But not to the head though. Only to the body. Okay? You can knee to the body. That's all good. Okay? Just don't bring anything knees or elbows to the head.
Can you heel stomp?
No stomping at all when you're standing up.
The events would take place at this converted warehouse in the desert's valley. All of the townspeople would come to watch these battles. One of the more shocking fights I witnessed while documenting these events was the day Sly Alvarado decided to step in the ring with Marlon They Call Me Junior Gustafson.
We went over the rules outside, you know what to do. Fight clean, fight fair. Listen to my commands at all times. If I say break, I want you guys to break. If you guys get hung up under the ropes, I'm going to tell you to hold your positions. We're going to start in the middle. Okay, touch gloves. Let's get ready to do this. Let's go. You ready? You ready? 2 minutes, okay? You ready? You ready? Let's go! Stop. You alright, bro? You okay? Okay?
I broke it.
Cool?
I broke it.
Yeah, I know. I saw it come out. Yeah. Okay. Hey, we got a medic here, okay? So you gotta get ice, you gotta get him wrapped up, okay? We're gonna have a sling for you, okay? All right?
I loved watching Marlon fight. He reminded me of a child playing in a sandbox without a worry in the world. Every time he stepped inside the ring of fire, he was in total bliss. The next event, I caught up with Marlon and asked him how it felt to break Sly's arm.
It felt pretty good. It felt like maybe you're cracking your knuckles times 20, I guess. Yeah.
You didn't feel bad for him?
Oh, you see me, I dropped down on my knees and, I told the guy you should have tapped out, you should have just gave up. It's pointless to break your arm. You can't even, he's not even here. He's not here because he didn't tap out. And either way, he would have lost.
Yeah, as a ref, sometimes I'm under the gun in there, and I tell the guys, don't be heroes. If they get in a submission that I feel that is going to be detrimental to their health, I'll stop it. Marlon's a good example. When he broke that one kid's arm, about 2 seconds before it went, I almost stopped it, but then I let it go because he looked like he was fighting out, and then the guy picked him up to try and slam him, and boom, there went the arm. Oh man, what am I supposed to do? But hey, you win some, you lose some. I'm human. I try to do my best and I protect the fighters.
In MMA, injuries are everywhere. Keeping your body healthy and strong is just one of the many challenges these athletes face daily. The goal is to train harder than your opponents without risking injury. All fighters have the will to win, but it's the will to prepare to win that makes champions.
Actually, I started training wrestling back when I was 7 years old, so about 19 years ago. Started doing judo about 13 years ago. I just got in the MMA game about 2 years ago, doing some Hapkido with Vincent Duchetta.
Wrestling is the oldest form of mixed martial arts. Origins of the sport can be traced back 15,000 years to cave drawings in France. In ancient Greece, wrestling occupied a prominent place in legend and literature, and it was the supreme contest of the Olympic Games.
Three title fights, all MMA tonight, all action-packed. Got a real good card. You're so sweet.
I promise I won't be slamming anybody in here tonight.
Yeah, look at this. We got Jason Monflu in the house tonight, professional fighter. Just take a look at his ears. That's what happens when you grapple. Was it grappling or too many hooks?
Sorry. Got locked on something else. Sorry. You're beautiful. I can't help it.
Thank you.
Hey, you know.
At 135 pounds, Keiichi Matsumoto is one of Vincent's youngest and most dominant students. In the short time that I have known him, he has never lost, not once. It didn't take long before he was a local amateur champion. I caught up with Keiichi at the gym and asked him what his favorite move was.
Triangle choke, but not in MMA because I'll get pounded out.
Yeah.
So probably like getting the back rear naked choke is cool. I like all the quick moves like flying arm bars, heel hooks, inside heel hooks, stuff like that, and the match real quick.
Some of the guys were training for a pro fight down in Guatemala. Daniel Hernandez was one of them, and so was his partner Aaron Miller. They're co-owners of the Ring of Fire, along with Vincent Duchetta, their coach.
Hey, Guerrero. Jorge. Okay, this is Keiichi. You guys are fighting number 4. You're red corner, you're blue corner. Okay? Fight number 5, Dell. Where's Dell?
On that hot July evening, Keiichi Matsumoto stepped inside the Ring of Fire to meet face-to-face with George the Nightmare Guerrero. Sometimes it felt so barbaric. I felt like I was watching gladiators. In a sense, I was. An ancient form of martial arts had been reborn. MMA was sweeping across the world like a wildfire. In 646 BC, it was introduced into the Olympic Games as a mixture of Hellenic boxing and wrestling combined. The matches also included a referee armed with a rod that he used to enforce the rules or to stop a fight when an opponent was overmatched. Just when the action was getting good, the referee jumped in to stop the fight. I couldn't believe it. Many nights I laid awake wondering what would have happened if that fight continued. I'm sure the Nightmare Guerrero did too.
I popped the arm went pop, pop, pop. He picked me up, he
slammed me a little bit and went deeper and popped some more. I'm glad Alvin went into it because I would have broken his arm right there, you know.
In this underground fight club, they didn't fight for money. They fought for the experience and for the joy of competing. They fought to discover their own weakness. There were jiu-jitsu practitioners, wrestlers, street brawlers. Even girls were stepping in the ring to compete.
I had a blast. One of the best times of my life. Praise God. 51 years old. I never dreamed of it. I'm barely still married from all the time it takes to train. But what a great time. Fantastic time. Great time. Yeah.
Came out, he was a warrior, prepared to fight, you know what I mean? Had some injury, blew out my knee or whatnot, but it was a tough battle. I didn't bitch, I ain't complain. I just kept it going, you know what I mean? Wanted to go ahead.
He would not give up. He would not give up.
Fight and give the crowd and all my people, yo, basically give the crowd their money's worth, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I'll be back though.
One day, this fighter named Julio from the Gracie Academy showed me this little museum inside his school.
This is pretty much where it all started, the UFC. You know, this is Horian's vision and the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu family, you know. This is a model of the original octagon. This is the gi that Helio Gracie wore when he fought Masahiko Kimura.
Certainly wasn't big city living out here in Monrovia. They had a movie theater, JP Burgers, a hardware store. There really wasn't much here, but one thing there was martial arts studios. They're practically on every corner.
Hey, so this is where it all began. This is Ed Hamile's West Coast Shotokan school. This is a picture of Sensei Shihan Ed Hamile. He's since passed away, but Alex did this in 1985. I remember when he did this, and it's been like 23 years now that this painting's been up. I think they may have retouched it up since then, but this is it. This is our Shotokan school, started when I was 15 years old. Here's the awesomest sign in the whole wide world right there, respect but fear no man. That's always had a special place in my heart. It's just, for me, it just has so much meaning. You know, you just give the man respect but fear nobody. This is it. This is where we used to come and train. You look inside the school here. Got the mats, the stretch bars. I mean, everything is pretty much, besides the mat, they've changed the mat, but this is where I started. This is our Shotokan school, and this is where it all began. As you can see, they've competed, they've had trophies, you know, hardcore, old school, bare knuckle Shotokan fighting championships and whatnot. And that's pretty much it, man, right here, Shotokan Karate. That's where it all began. That's my foundation, that's my strength. Okay, so over here we have the whole San Gabriel Valley. San Gabriel Valley starts about 10-15 miles away. We get guys coming in to fight at our events from San Fernando Valley. We have people from Pasadena, LA. Over here in Monrovia, we have our school, Ring of Fire, and then people come from the San Bernardino Valley, San Bernardino area. Everybody's coming from all over the place to fight. We've got people from Hesperia, Victorville, all coming down into here in the San Gabriel Valley. It's kind of cool that we're up here right now filming this stuff because it brings me back to when I was a kid and I used to come up here and hang out. And I haven't been up here, I don't know why, but I haven't been up here in years. But it's a really cool thing to come up here and just take a look at the valley and just, you know, kind of reminisce in my head about everything that I've done, been able to accomplish, and from starting as a kid in Shotokan to where we're at now, actually training fighters, training pro fighters, and teaching people, you know, what I've learned over the years. And it's been over 24 years now that it's been a dream in the making, and it's actually coming true for me now. So it's kind of a cool thing.
I've been doing mixed martial arts for about 2 years now with Vincent Duchetta here at the Ring of Fire. Most of my background comes from wrestling. I grew up wrestling in Royal High School all my life, followed my brothers. They were wrestlers through high school, and I did really well. Just fell in love with the one-on-one competition. I wasn't too much in team sports.
Aaron Miller loves to fight. I knew he liked it, but it wasn't until he was actually in the ring that I realized how much he loves it. One day during a kickboxing match, he got hit below the belt and went down hard. The whole gym felt his pain.
What's up with all the low blows, Aaron?
Hey, you know what? It happened to me. Last fight I got kicked in the nuts twice, and this one I got punched in the nuts. People just like to take me out. You know what I'm supposed to do? They don't like fighting me.
He eventually recovered and went on to dominate the rest of the fight and won yet another victory.
You know, we don't want any heroes. We want anybody getting hurt, broken arms, necks, or anything like that. So you guys fight hard, fight clean, and all that kind of good stuff. Real quick, rules.
One day he met up with Bobby Green from the Bomb Squad. This perhaps was one of my most favorite fights to date. The Bomb Squad was a group of brawlers led by Coach Shad Smith. Every time he entered the academy, I knew I would see some real action. You could tell who his fighters were just by looking at them. They brought some of the best action to the ring that I've ever seen. This was going to be a real test for Aaron. Bobby was a real fighter, was so full of confidence he was more focused on the ring girl than the actual fight.
Not only do we have a great facility that we're here to train at, we have the full mats, the rings, the bags, and everything like that, but one of the special spots that some of the wives of the fighters that come and train here and the kids, they get to enjoy the little kids room that we have back here. This is my beautiful wife, Stephanie.
Hi.
She lets me fight, so I appreciate that. That's
yeah, but I'm
family.
too camera shy.
So she's camera shy, so we'll move on.
This section of the gym was reserved for the children. This is Aaron's oldest son, Daniel, the next MMA superstar. And this is his beautiful daughter. The children would play while their fathers would train.
We're a firm believer in family, and that's why a lot of these guys come here, because we treat them like family, and we remember everyone that's here, that comes into this room, and appreciate all that they bring. Huh? Say hi. Oh, she's a good guy. But yeah, come on down. Bring your kids. It'll be a lot of fun.
Next fighter. That's the little one, yeah. That's the next one. We'll see. Oh, he's tired now. He's been working out. Get him. Show him.
There were plenty of kids running around, that's for sure. Sometimes there were more children than adults inside the ring of fire.
Everything I like to do has a purpose. I like it to have some type of meaning that is going somewhere. I like to just throw you in there and just mix you up and You know, it doesn't. I like purpose. I like everything that makes sense. When we spar, it makes sense. You know, we're sparring. When we roll, it makes sense. We're rolling. This is for the females primarily. We do this fitness program where 2 days a week we do a strength, kind of a plyometric style system training, and then the other 2 days a week we do like a conditioning circuit style training with some cardio kickboxing in between. And we look to burn the maximum amount of calories while maintaining the most amount of lean muscle mass. We're training them younger. That's so. As soon as he goes out, man, it's like he gets like 2 weeks off and then it's time to work. When they're no longer purple, then they train.
Vince had been getting his fighters ready for their pro debut. The doctors gave him a full physical at the weigh-ins the night before the fight. This was one of Vincent's dreams. The goal is to build his fighters and prepare them for battle. It doesn't matter if you're a pro, an amateur, or if it's just a hobby. The goal stays the same, to be ready.
Tomorrow's gonna be real good, man. I'm real excited. The guys look good, they're strong, they're in shape, ready to kick some ass. So hopefully tomorrow night, we take some names.
All right, man.
I mean, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. No, see you at the fights, man. Take care.
You give me those 5 G's and I'll fight that fight. Yeah, 5 G's.
What up, son?
All right.
Fuck the paparazzi, son.
Hey, no pictures, no pictures.
Hey, no,
hey. We're professionals now.
That's right,
All right,
son.
man, we'll see you at the fight.
That's right, now. Big time money over here.
The fights were awesome and the party was even better. Aaron's fight was a total war, back and forth for 3 long rounds. It was a fast-paced, exciting fight with lots of punches, kicks, and grappling. Unfortunately, Aaron came out on top.
9 rounds, that's all he got.
Shiner, but I fucked the other guy.
That's it.
That's all it took.
One little itty bitty one.
Hey, what's up? This is Downtown Julie Brown, coming from MTV Live. And I got my, this is Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses.
Axl Rose.
Axl Rose, hey, shut up.
Anything like Axl Rose.
Hey, shut up. Axl Rose.
Valentino is not only our cornerman, but he's also a fighter at a Ring of Fire, Martial Arts Academy.
He is.
What do you feel about that?
I love it because he's doing something that he loves and he's passionate about.
That's a good answer.
And
That
I
is.
love it.
See?
Look at his
How do you feel about
face.
that?
Look at him.
We need to lose some weight.
Hey, hold on a second. I keep you cool in the summer and warm in the winter.
He's cool.
Valentino was not only comic relief, he was a cornerman and also a fighter. And a pretty good damn one at that.
It's scary at first, but I know he can handle his own, so I'm okay with it.
What are you scared of?
Him just getting hurt.
But he's a fighter. He gets hurt all the time.
Yeah, but being hurt bruises and being hurt broken something is totally completely different.
Broken bones or broken
Yeah, broken
heart?
anything.
What's worse? Like
But trust me, she'll rub me down later. Ooh. I got her on that one. Look, she's blushing. Get her. She's blushing. Kevin, she's blushing.
This interview's over.
This is my homegirl from Hawaii, Sarah. She is friggin' living here now. Dude, she's coming to our gym to work out with us. Give her some love. That's, look at, step.
Daniel wasn't in the same loving mood. He had a good fight and took control early, but unfortunately he took a hard kick to the ribs and was defeated by a technical knockout. Out of all of the fighters at the Ring of Fire, Daniel has the biggest expectations and he carries the most pressure to win.
She's in here when I fight, along with my kids. I love her to death, and without her support, I wouldn't be able to accomplish anything that I do in the ring. She's literally the reason why I fight so hard, because I can never disappoint her. When I disappoint her, it makes it even worse.
Thanks, Ben. We love you.
I love you.
I asked Aaron if his motivation has changed with his recent victory.
I think the motivation is still the same.
It comes from here.
Yeah, because you got people barking down your throat daily.
He gets tired of me yelling at him, but I tell him, hey, if you don't want to hear me yell at you, handle your business. But even if he handles his, I'll still yell at him. We have our first out-of-country pro fight coming up November 10th. Daniel, Aaron, and Casey are going to make their out-of-country pro fight debut in Guatemala.
Yeah, man. I just want to go on a vacation. They said, hey, we're going to go and we're going to give you some money to go to Guatemala. I said, fuck yeah, let's go party.
As sure as the day turned into night, these fights would continue, and the fighters came from all different schools and used the Ring of Fire as a practice tool. I really looked forward to these events. You never knew what was going to happen. Every month the word of the Ring of Fire was spreading further and further. It was hard to believe how fast it was happening, but Vince had had this vision before. And now that his battleground had been born, it was no longer a dream, but a living reality. Fighters were now coming from across state lines to get involved in the action. As time went on, the blood continued to spill. These young fighters put everything on the line. They sacrificed their bodies and health for this experience.
I don't know about you, but that band got me pumped up. I'm ready to see these fighters throw down.
That's a rap like them Iraq turban caps. I make real stunts higher than skyscraper buildings. I'm pulling holes like I'm playing tug of war with little children. Can you keep up with a G?
Yes, sir.
Let's see, cause I get around the club like bartenders with mixed drinks. Fuck it, I get around like digital underground, collecting more hoes than a pimp from downtown. When I'm gon' go up, drink till I throw up, looking for a breezy that's down the pound. Can you really keep up with a G?
Yes, sir.
Can you put it on me like a freak?
Yes, sir.
Later on we could get a couple drinks.
Yes, sir.
Then you can show me a little peek.
Yes, sir.
The Bomb Squad was back again and letting their presence be known. They were methodical inside the Ring of Fire. You can learn a lot by watching Shad and his fighters. They were like a pack of wild wolves, hunting together.
What can we expect from you tonight?
Some ground and pound, a few hammer fists hopefully, get my couple of my favorite punches in, make sure this thing goes all right.
Where do you train out of?
Actually out of my apartment. I don't go to any school.
Really?
Taught myself with a little help from my buddy over here.
Gun.
Showed me a few ground and pound and a few submissions. Got me started in this game, making sure everything's going good on the ground. I had a few stand-up skills, mostly just teaching myself.
What do you do for Marlon for a real job?
Sell satellites and internet cable, shit like that. Basically just sit behind a desk and take phone calls. Have to do it real early in the morning though. Most of the time when I was fighting here for my first 4 fights, I was waking up 4 o'clock in the morning, working all day, hurrying up and going home, changing, taking a shower, and hurrying up and get over here as fast as possible to weigh in.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it took its toll on me. Finally, I just had to convince my boss I need at least one day off on Saturday a month.
Marlon was back in the ring once again. I was a little nervous for him. He was facing yet another member of the Bomb Squad. But Marlon Nate Call Me Jr. doesn't get nervous. He gets excited. And he was eager to try out some new moves. He knew he was facing a dangerous opponent, yet he showed no sign of fear. Vince lined him up in the middle of the ring, briefed the fighters, and got this battle underway.
I knew I had it. I was practicing actually the night before. I was practicing a little bit, so I didn't get caught in it, you know, and then it just came to me, you know, and I was like, this guy's gonna drop me, and if he doesn't do the right move on me, I'm just gonna sneak it in, and it came to me. It was too easy.
Marlon They Call Me Jr. was off to an outstanding amateur career. We were always excited to watch him. Some fighters used their strength and technique to dominate their opponent, but Marlon They Call Me Jr. used his heart.
I love MMA. It's my favorite sport. I love seeing people get knocked out. I love a good technical fight. I love everything about it. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with her.
Youngblood from the Ring of Fire was next on deck. Youngblood was lined up to fight this man, who no one knew anything about except that he was 4-0. I would later name this mysterious man the Tornado. Youngblood was prepared like he always was, but unfortunately he never saw this storm coming. None of us did. In less than 30 seconds, the Tornado sucked Youngblood up into the air and spit him out like a rag doll. The path of destruction was devastating, and the whole gym was speechless. We were all in shock over the Tornado that just swept through the Ring of Fire.
Where you guys from? What school?
Dosan Mixed Martial Arts.
International MMA.
During intermission, I had to find out more about these guys. I asked one of their masters where else he teaches.
The LA County Jail, the Los Angeles Youth Athletic Center.
I used to train there too.
Yeah.
Over on Avenue 20.
Avenue 19.
19.
Same shit.
Yeah, yes.
Avenue 19. Yeah.
Avenue 19?
Yeah.
Cool, man. The guy looked really good.
Yeah, that's my two of my best fighters. Carl Parisi is my other fighter. He's fighting for the title in spring, so, you know.
What kind of stuff you train?
Judo and karate and boxing. But we're all black belts. Carl, me, Sky, and Suda. Black belts in karate and judo. Me. And Harwood's brown belt, about to get black belt. 4-time junior gold medalist in judo. Really? I'm 5-time Marine Corps champ.
We're gonna see you in the ring soon?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's fighting after the new year.
So was that karate or what?
Kyokushin and judo.
Strikes.
Kyokushin. Kyokushin karate.
Yeah. How long you been training?
From Japan. 4-0.
Not much English, huh? 4-0?
Yeah, 4-0. Now he's going pro.
All right, man. Thanks for the show.
Since he was a little boy, he was interested in music, but I could see that he liked the sport of martial arts much better. As I said before, I could see he was more interested, and when he started at 14 or 15 years old, as a matter of fact, I was happy for him, but I didn't let him know.
Yeah, over here, this is where we were training for a little bit. We were in between schools, and my parents let us bring the mats over here, and we were training the guys while we're negotiating the lease on the place we're at now. So we were here for about, I don't know, about a month and a half, 2 months training. All the stuff was moved out. We had the mats down here, so it's our little training ground here.
Cool. What do you think about the guys training in your backyard?
Well, at first I didn't like it. I thought my lifestyle was being interrupted, sort of. But it was okay, it didn't last long.
My dad right there.
Show Kevin your old pictures, Marco?
There's a sideways one.
It was like a full contact, like point fighting deal where they allowed sweeps and throws, punches, kicks to the head. And we all won belts from that. This was 92, I think it was. This was my first degree black belt test. My dad took the stills on this, and he actually got some really good shots, and the good shots that we had blown up.
Once the light turned into dusk, the fighters weighed in. Marlon appeared out of the dark. It would not have been the same without him.
Is that a picture of you on your shirt?
Yeah, that's me right when I'm in the ring. Yeah, that's what the other guy sees. He doesn't see me, he sees through me, he sees this guy.
Oh yeah. See ya, bye.
Marlon They Call Me Jr. was back inside the ring. This time he was lined up to face Gilbert the Hitman. The Hitman had made a vow to put Marlon's beginner's luck to an end. We were still all in shock that Marlon had made it this far, all by himself. Eventually, Big Vince stopped the massacre, and for the first time in his short career, Marlon They Call Me Jr. had tasted the agony of defeat.
Every time I think I'm gonna wake up. Every time I think I'm gonna wake up.
Oh, the Gilbert versus Marlon, They Call Me Junior Gustafson. Yeah, that was a good fight. The Hitman pretty much rolled right through him. I think it's time that Marlon joins the gym, gets some real training. And as far as Gilbert goes, I just got to get him some tougher opponents before he goes pro. But we're here at Vincent and Marco. They're my two boys, 6 years old and 10 years old. They're in 1st and 5th grade. Pick them up at school. They get out about 2:45. We just pick them up, take them home, get their homework started, get them ready for dinner. And if we have practice, we go to practice, baseball practice, or they go to karate practice. Today they have baseball, so there's no martial arts practice for them today. But just the regular family stuff. This is Dante. He's the baby. He's 10 months old. We have Vincent. He's 10 years old. We have Marco here. He's 6. My wife Monique, my beautiful wife, my support system right here. Marco wanted a dog, so he wanted a dog named Fluffy. Didn't matter what kind of dog we were getting, so this is Fluffy, it's like a 115-pound Rottweiler. She's crazy, but she's a good dog. She's real good-hearted. She protects the kids real well, and she's a good girl.
The guys from the gym convinced Marlon They Call Me Jr. to start training at the Ring of Fire.
Yeah. They invited me over, said they'll train me how to fight better, find some kinks in my game, fix it all out, straighten it out, iron it out, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's been working out good. I've been over here for like 2 weeks. This is going to be my 3rd week here, and these guys, they've doubled my game. Yeah, I try to do the best I can, but now I got some more skills. Before it was just pure heart and some good good Hail Marys. Yeah, TiVo's a motherfucker, man. Just put it on pause and put it on slow motion, and you can learn yourself some good moves, man.
When he was on his winning streak, he was reluctant to join, but soon he would taste something that every mixed martial artist does: the agony of defeat. After that loss, a month later, he met up with Javier Duarte from the Ring of Fire. Now, this is the last guy in the world that any normal human being would ever want to fight. I've seen him punch, grapple, submit, kick, and choke his way all the way to the top. Marlon could have cared less. Marlon was already planning his comeback, and he was preparing to fight at the next event. But for Marlon's safety, Vince advised against it.
Yeah, Daniel had scheduled. I didn't know Daniel had scheduled him. We hadn't talked about it because he got knocked out in the last fight. Supposed to wait 45 days, but at least 6 weeks to make sure that brain's okay.
I don't know. Look at
you go. Spike.
I don't know. I haven't talked to you lately. I don't know.
Hey, I've never been on there. Okay?
Yeah.
So, hey, if I can say my name, I'm in.
Cesar Ortega was one of the Ring of Fire's most prominent students. Vincent and Daniel had been investing a lot of time into his career. One day, he met up with Carlos Sutton, a.k.a. the Pitbull.
You fighting tonight?
Yeah, fighting tonight, defend my title.
We're gonna see it last longer than a minute this time, you think?
Probably not.
Man, you seem like such a nice guy, like outside of the ring, but when you're in the ring, you're like a scary dude.
I'm a good kid, and then I transform.
That's what it's about, huh? Transforming?
Yeah, it's about being as aggressive, and it's got to be strong in there. No quit attitude. My nickname's a Pit Bull. I fight like one. Even got the tats on them.
It was the event of the night. You could hear the crowd roaring from a mile away. The energy was as powerful as a hurricane. The roof on top of the warehouse was trembling. They measured each other up nose to nose. It felt like the moment of calm inside the eye of the storm. Cesar had been preparing for this moment for over a year, but perhaps he should have been more cautious because the Pitbull's bark is for real and his charge is relentless.
My last fight, I cracked a rib from a slam. Put me out for a while, So it was a fracture. It was a fracture, so I had to stay out for a month. Hurts really bad, but I'm trying to work myself back up.
Does it hurt to breathe and stuff?
It did at the beginning. It did. Really bad. Really sensitive. I couldn't laugh, couldn't sneeze. It was tough, but I'm back in.
This is functional training for a fighter. We're trying to hit every body part, elevate heart rate, load the legs, immediately go to upper body. Upper body, we're doing a functional turn, trying to take the guys back. Hyperextension for support when you're riding out somebody. Cardio, back to loading the legs, stabilizing the upper body to an abdominal twist. Turn, rotate, set. And right now we're reversing it just to throw a little curveball at him.
He is our 135-pound champ, so let's give him a big round of applause. unfortunately, he's not going to be able to defend it again because he's turning pro. So.
The guys from the gym were getting ready for their first international fight. I had asked Vince where Aaron was.
I have no idea, man. I'm texting him right now.
Is he supposed to be here today?
Yeah, he's supposed to be here today. He's supposed to be here last night, too. He said he just couldn't make it.
He's got a pro fight coming up, too, huh?
Yeah, we're supposed to go to Guatemala in 2 weeks. He should be training his ass off right now, but sometimes it's what happens.
I asked Daniel how he trains with so few bodies in the gym.
Make sure you rotate them.
Yeah.
So
again and again and again.
We're gonna do some striking and stuff, and I'll just always be out there. So I'm constantly going. So we do an hour. We just do an hour hard. The main thing is the sprint. Is just leave it all here. Go sprinting, everything. And it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Last week we got thrown out for a little loop. We were anticipating 3-minute rounds for this fight coming up in Guatemala, but they wanted 5s. So we negotiated 4, so we kind of bumped up the training. And I feel bad for Monique because I'm hardly ever home anymore, going to this show, going to that show, going up north to promote the shows or promote the fighters, trying to get them shows and stuff. So it's kind of tough sometimes, but it's all worth it, it's a dream. Kind of live through these guys and get these guys some fights and get the name out there. It's working out pretty good.
The approach in the last couple fights is basically just to try to end the fight. So I had to reevaluate that because that wasn't working. So now, instead of going in there and just trying to win the fight, I'm going to go in there and try to beat the guy up. So that's the new game plan. I'm going to go in there and hurt somebody. Fuck winning. I'm going to beat him up.
So you too, go for your takedowns. Your takedowns are clean now. Do your little striking, and you get that takedown. But even if you come in, and this kid turns out to be a phenomenal wrestler, take your shot. It doesn't happen. Boom. It just pulled him in the gut.
That's what I was playing.
That's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna keep on going to it.
Yeah, if you pull guard, it's okay. You just do your lay there and tell them to come down, and they'll stand you up.
Like when you came here to fight, he hits you and it hurts. Boom.
Before you knew it, the guys were already in Guatemala. I couldn't make the trip, but they promised me to take some pictures and a little video for our documentary. They were in the ancient city of Antigua, founded in 1543.
Hey, world travelers, turn around. How do you guys like Antigua?
It's cool, it's old.
It's old, huh? Maybe that's why they call it Antigua.
Maybe, like antique, huh?
Nice. You up in San Jose a minute ago.
Is that? Getting water coming out of a booth.
There you go.
Oh,
I got it. What do you think about Guatemala? Okay.
It's pretty tight, man.
It's nice, huh?
Except for these fools with like firearms everywhere.
We're here at the arena. We just got here. It was a little bit of a trek in the party bus. It's good. We're here now. We're checking things out.
Now that their short vacation was over, it was time to get down to business. Daniel was trying to stay relaxed, get all these nerves going, First international fight, out of the country, out here in Guate, and you guys made him proud. Win or lose, he loved it. Keiichi was lightning quick. He won so fast that not one camera in the house captured it. He hit his opponent with a flying armbar and submitted him in only 15 seconds. Daniel was up next. He needed this win perhaps more than anyone. He needed it for Vince, for the gym, and most importantly, himself. He stuck to his game plan and beat down his opponent for 15 long minutes. Eventually, he was rewarded with a unanimous decision and ultimately won his first professional fight. Aaron was up next. Right off the bell, he got hit with a shot. It left him with a nice shiner. But he used his superior wrestling to control the fight and also won a 3-round decision. Vince called the next morning to tell me the good news.
Hey Kevin, this is Vince. You gotta make it quick. It's expensive. Derek ain't Guati, dude. All the guys fucking want it. I mean, speak less of it.
The ancient city of Antigua and the experience inside the cage were all but a very good memory. Next week, back in Monrovia, inside the Ring of Fire, it was business as usual.
Good. So they need to get here. Supposed to have about 20 guys. I got 5.
Good times. This is what we go through. Usually it works out, but from now until what, about 6:30, we're stressing?
Stressed out.
Stress out.
Who's gonna fight who? How many fights are we gonna have? Because we need a fighter at 145, and you're at 45, and you can destroy this kid.
Here comes the champ. He brought the belt.
Show him. Supposed to bring the belt. Show him your belt.
Show him the belt. This is what you get. This is what you get when you beat me. Huh?
Guatemala was beautiful. I got plenty of pictures for you. Story, yeah. My little black guy right here.
The nights were growing longer and longer, and underneath the dark mist, the moon was full once again. Business was going exceptionally well for the Ring of Fire Mixed Martial Arts Academy. 3 months in a row, the events were sold out. But right before this bloody Saturday night, Vince received some bad news. A fighter known as the Predator was in a bad accident on his way to this competition. Cesar Ortega had a vision as clear as day. In due time, Cesar would avenge the pit bull and make him pay for that devastating body slam that fractured his ribs. The warrior's journey to redemption would be ever so challenging.
Got that? If we see it, we'll break it, and we'll stand you guys back up or start over from that position.
I'm sure these guys already thanked you guys, but I want to thank you guys for coming out. It's a rainy night, but you know what? We got a good show in there, so let's fight hard for these guys. Yeah, I want to thank you guys.
We got 15 minutes, or what do we got?
No, we got about 10, I think. We're going to start right at 8 o'clock. We're 10 out. One of the fighters that was coming down here tonight was coming down from Oxnard, and his name was Dean the Predator Williams. And he was in a pretty bad accident coming down here. So he rolled his car a couple times, so he wasn't able to come out and fight. I want to just have a moment of silence for him. Let's give a little prayer for Dean, and just hold him in your hearts tonight because he's going to need it, okay? Thank you.
Under the dark shadow of the moon, these young fighters found their souls inside the Ring of Fire. It was not senseless brutality. These fights were symbolic of our own struggles, our own joys and pain. There were no losers inside the Ring of Fire.
I just been promoted to general. That's my star.
I can see some big slams tonight. I actually learned how to do kickboxing when I was 15. I got jumped in school. My dad took me in the garage and taught me 3 kicks. And I'd just be in hours in the garage, kicking the bag. And then we put wood on the bag, kicking the wood. And then I met Paul Gonzalez, and he taught me all my jiu-jitsu.
Caesar's dream of beating down the pit bull would all be a sweet memory. Redemption was one of the greatest missions on the warrior's journey. But what Caesar never saw coming was the white demon that stood in his path. It was the ultimate test. The white demon came straight through the desert's highway to make it inside the Ring of Fire.
What school are you coming from?
LA Boxing, Las Vegas.
All right, so you've been working on the MMA game too?
Yep.
So we're going to expect a lot of fists from you or everything?
A lot of fists.
All right, man. Looking forward to it. Good luck.
It just so happened that this fighter is also a pro boxer who's making quite a name for himself inside the MMA world. Sometimes we're so close to reaching our goals, and then one more wall suddenly appears out of nowhere just to test you. But Caesar was beginning to look like a wise Indian warrior, and he would prove to us that sometimes taking punches can be just as valuable as delivering them. He took the lethal demon's attack and waited throughout the storm for an opening. Caesar then controlled the demon's body for the rest of the fight and came one step closer to realizing his dream inside the ring of fire. Once again, the warriors fought their hearts out. And as the rain hit the ground and the blood spilled out of the fighters, their flesh split open and they put their lives on the line as they all experienced defeat and victory together.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Did you meet your other team?
Yeah, thanks for taking that fight, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
This young man stepped out of the crowd to replace the Predator's absence, and once again he proved to the people that the size of a man's heart can be the deadliest weapon inside the ring of fire. It was not in the name of violence, but in love. We forgot our own pains and lived freely through these courageous fighters in their heroic battles.
Yeah, any extra money we get from the gym, like from the fights and stuff like that, we've been putting right back into the gym. That's why you see we got an extra rowing machine and fan bike and some more heavy bags and stuff like that. So pretty much it supports the supports the gym when we have our fight nights. It, helps pay for fighters that can't afford to pay for tuition and stuff like that. It just kind of keeps the doors open at the gym.
I understand this is his dream, and I wouldn't, I'm going to be supportive, whatever it takes to be supportive. That's what we're going to do. I mean, it's hard on the entire family. The kids miss him. Even the dog misses him when he's gone, but this is his career. This is what he has to do. So he makes sacrifices, and we all have to make sacrifices along with him. But it's worth it.
Back to the ball.
Oh, I hate the ball.
Let's talk about sacrifice. Last set, ready? Go. Yeah, so Marlon, they call me Junior Gustafson. He's been training with us for about a month now. He's got his first fight coming up, so we're looking for some big things from Marlon.
What's up?
Well, I do know that back
in the ring, huh?
Yeah. You got the devil shirt on?
Yeah. Punishment and pain, man. Hopefully the guy feels it tonight.
I thought you were part of a real gym. Are you training and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. 7 full weeks here, man. I got a couple days rest. Made weight. That's the most important thing. Hopefully just better game and a win. Ain't nothing better than a win, man. It could be sloppy. As long as I win, I win.
I never anticipated a fight so much as this one. Marlon, they call me Junior, was born again. He was now a trained fighter.
Stuck under the ropes, and I tell you to break, we're going to pull it back in the middle, same position. Okay, touch gloves, come on, fighting. You guys ready? brings the show, huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe.
This battle was about as even as it could be. All of his training and sacrifices came down to this one defiant moment. Quitting was not an option for Marlon, and he was almost unconscious. Vince had seen enough and called the fight. Marlon laid on the ground in disappointment as the winner paraded around him. We were all sad to see him lose, but then Marlon They Call Me Jr. reminded us he always came out on top.
Hey, good fight, both of you guys. Hey, one more time for both these guys. Give it up. Good fight, man. Good fight. Nothing to be sorry about. You did good.
The time is 1 minute, 50 seconds into the third round.
When Marlon found out there was only 9 seconds left, he couldn't hide his disappointment. He felt that perhaps he would have won a close decision, but unfortunately, there was no escaping that deadly choke. And when next month's event came, I was shocked to see Marlon They Call Me Jr. was not fighting.
Fighting some injuries, gotta keep quiet though on where they're at. You know what I mean? But it's cool. I'll give it a few weeks, let my body heal. Been tired anyhow, training too much work, so I need some rest, man. I've been fighting off injuries for the last couple fights, and you just can't do it like that. You know what I mean? They're all telling me I gotta get rest, I gotta get checked up at the doctors. It didn't turn out good at the doctors, so I need rest.
This was an amazing group of guys that not only lived to fight, but more importantly to bring others into our world. Nearly every single one of them was a father. They spent more time with their kids than they did training. And sometimes they would play, and their children would train. But in the end, it was all about being part of a family. A few years ago today, I put the word out into the universe. I was looking for a guy like Vincent Duchetta. Coincidentally, Vincent Duchetta was looking for a guy like me, and the rest became documented history. I went into this project with an open mind, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that the same trials and tribulations we fight in our everyday lives were the same ones living inside the ring of fire. Daniel's career was not going the way he and Vince had originally predicted. This was his second loss in a row. The battle was much more difficult than anyone had ever imagined. Without the support of the monthly amateur events, paying rent at the gym was impossible. And next time I went back to Monrovia, I was sad to see that the Ring of Fire was up for rent. To make matters even worse, Aaron had left the gym. On his way out, he took Caesar and a few other fighters with him. They trained at his house inside his garage. It wasn't much of a gym, but they made the best of it.
Don't mix business and friendships. It doesn't work. It always ends up bad. People just get offended. Either it's going to be over money, or maybe egos, envy. I just don't know.
Vincent and Daniel had moved the Ring of Fire down the street from the last gym to a smaller, more affordable location.
Okay, and then the lab he needs.
They went over by 4 points.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just because I was just reading what the state had said. Oh, they got to do blood work every 6 months. It's a bunch of bullshit for the state. Well, I guess the blood work's not really bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't catch the high five. But he got a TKO in his last fight, so he's got to redo his physical, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, they're gonna poke his nuts and check his blood pressure.
You want to do a jazz party for Obama? You know,
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me?
No, Marlon's good, man. He moved up here to Monrovia about a month ago, just before Christmas, during Christmas time. He moved up here, quit his job down there, got a new job up here because he wanted to be closer to the gym. So he was about, I don't know, 6 or 7 blocks away. So he runs to class.
This guy pretty good fighter.
He won his first pro fight. He did good. He did what do you want, a guillotine choke?
All right, back in October 19th, Vince Duchetta, and with my help of my buddy over here, Daniel, they turned me pro. Went through a barrage of fucking tests to get it done, but wound up beating the guy in the second round after a third takedown. Wound up getting him in a guillotine. His corner was screaming, don't tap out, and my guys are screaming, don't let go, don't let go. So I squeezed tighter and made him tap, and immediately 3 minutes after the fight, got sponsorship from Chuck Liddell and his Iceman supplement company. And I started getting sponsorships, and then more people started calling, and next thing you know, I got, a magazine company, I've got a printing company, I've got a car club, I got these guys here, and next step is money. They're gonna give me money if I keep winning, especially. More clothes, more money. That's always the point, Knock people out and don't get arrested. Ain't nothing better than that.
And Keiichi's back. Keiichi will be here in a few minutes. You can talk to him.
What's he?
You can get his story. His story's good about what happened to him the last year.
He's fighting?
You feeling strong and everything?
Yeah, I feel a lot better than I did before. So.
How'd you tear it?
I got slammed during practice. By Aaron.
But he came up to me like, Aaron, I want you to train or fight me like a practice, like how a wrestler would fight me if we were to fight in an actual fight.
You know it was torn right away?
No, I just knew that I can move it.
You said I know it was fucked up.
He was in real pain. He ended up like pulling his ACL, had like surgery and stuff like that. But the big like controversy at the whole gym the whole time I was there is because I didn't apologize to him for hurting him, you know, like huge. It's like this huge thing. They couldn't believe I wasn't gonna apologize, and I'm still to this day I haven't apologized to him. You know, I'm sorry that he got hurt. You know, I was looking forward to watching him fight, but you know that's part of the business.
Just some sprints, some cardio drills, different muscles. Like the first set we were doing side by side, just fatigue the outside muscles. These ones, just try and get the forward ones going, their glutes, because they just use different muscles. You know, instead of just straightforward sprints every time, we just try and switch it up for them. Try and get their heart rate up.
What I like about fighting, you know, I like the camaraderie, I like the competition, you know, just in general, like, it just feels good to fight, you know. It's just fun. It's just fun for me. My weight class is 135. They call it bantamweight. I think.
Maybe going lower, huh?
Yeah, I might be going lower because I'm right at 135, so I'm not cutting any weight, nothing. So.
Vince is sick. He's been out for the last 3 days with a flu. You know, he tends to get a little sick around this time when it gets closer to the fights. I think, you know, he's a good coach. He's very in tune with us. So I think at this point he's getting very nervous. And I've noticed, you know, every fight that I've had, he's pretty nervous in the corner and stuff. And this time is a little bit more special now because we got Keiichi back. Keiichi is like part of the family, you know. And so for him now, Vince is dealing with his nerves with me fighting, trying to redeem myself from the last fight, and now you got Keiichi, who we've been waiting to have fight for almost a year since he got hurt. So I think now the nerves are really getting to him. That probably explains why he's been sick for about a week now.
It's a nice Bible study.
So you're a Christian?
Yeah.
Does it psych you up before a fight to read about Jesus?
Not really.
No?
Does it psych me up?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, does it make me crazy?
So you use God as a motivator?
I mean, God is a motivator, I think.
Nine long months of hard rehabilitation. 9 months of wondering if he would ever be the same. Keiichi was in the best shape of his life, and there would be no more questioning.
Rimmed in red, he is training out of Ring of Fire in Monrovia, California, by way of Tokyo, Japan. Brings to the ring an undefeated record, 1 win with no losses. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Keiichi Matsumoto! Was sponsored in part by Toe to Toe Apparel and Extreme Pain Gear. Make sure and visit both booths this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, at 1 minute 27 seconds of round number 1, the referee in charge, Mike Beltran, stops the contest in favor of our winner by technical knockout, Keiichi Matsumoto!
Well, thanks to my trainer, Vince, and, you know, my training partners, Daniel and everybody else.
Had a good camp, man.
Those are the only reason why I win, you know. If God gives me an opportunity to train with these guys, and you know, He gives me an opportunity to stand on 2 feet, and I have the tutelage of them. That's the only reason I win.
Awesome. Good job. Good work, baby. Good work. Loving it, baby.
Before Daniel's fight, the lights dimmed and the crowd grew silent. The death of the legend Helio Gracie was announced.
This is pretty much where it all started, the UFC. You know, this is Horion's vision and the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu family. This is the gi that Helio Gracie wore when he fought Maso.
I said a prayer for the legend and thanked his family for bringing this sport to America. I prayed for Vincent, for Daniel, and for all the warriors that were brave enough to step inside the ring. So much hard work, so much dedication, so many sacrifices and so much pain. But his failures had made him stronger. Vincent and Daniel were more prepared than ever. But what they had never expected was the fact that their old teammate and business partner had been exposing Daniel's weakness to the enemy.
Showed him some judo defenses, some throws that I know somebody knows. Rotate! You know, inside leg trip, you know, defense to double leg defense. You know, that's just business. Nothing personal, just business. This MMA isn't in a market for friends. It's kind of like one of those Marvel team-ups. You get, you know, team-ups off and on, and you make friends and you make enemies.
I wanted to warn them, but I figured it would be best to leave it alone. So much of the battle is a mental one, and I didn't want them to lose focus.
When you're a wrestler in college, everybody just starts talking, okay, what's next? You know, either you go to the Olympics or you do this now. So now everybody does this because this is the only way we get paid. I think the worst I've had is maybe a black eye, bloody nose. Like popped blood vessels in my eye, but it didn't do anything. It didn't hurt me or nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Daniel the Rule Hernandez. His opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner. He is wearing black trunks with camouflage trim. He is training out of AV Jiu-Jitsu in Palmdale, California. At 1 minute 26 seconds of round number 1, the referee in charge, Mike Beltran, stops the contest. The fighter was unable to defend himself. We have our winner by TKO, Daniel the Rule Hernandez.
If I could do it all over again, I would have picked my fights a little better. I think Vince and myself, we had a lot of confidence in how good I was, so I kind of just jumped into whatever fight came. So fighting for a middleweight title for my first fight wasn't a good idea. But we're starting back over and trying to build my record up. That's the only thing I do over again. I can't stop fighting. Even when I get hurt, you know, Vince tells me, oh, take
take a month off, and here we are again training. You know, it's too hard to stay out. You just get back in it. So here we go again. My son, he looks like he'll be good at it, but he doesn't want to do it. He'll probably change his mind when he gets older.
In the end, it wasn't about winning or losing. It was about trying as hard as you can to be the best you can be. It was about finding what you love, never quitting, and following your heart. No one was invincible. No one was undefeated, although there always could be an exception.